cut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Saying that you're the best, you gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come back sports. Talking way too much, world come back sports. Talking way too much, world come back sports.
Yo, big shout out to the hottest chat in the MF'N game, A-Side official. No negotiations needed, period. Hey, happy holidays to the hottest chat in the MF'N game, man. Hopefully all y'all enjoyed, man, whoever you was with, family, friends, you know, all that. I hope you had a grand time, ate a lot of food, had some drink, wherever that may have been, from Tropicana, you know, to Minute Maid, to that over the counter, off the shelf. You have to be a certain age to buy it. But we're gonna get to some miscellaneous boxing topics. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been chilling because boxing, to me, it was just retreaded information. It seems like there was no really hard line stories to talk about anymore. Like when Crawford beat Canelo, he literally sponged up every bit of newsworthy media that you can talk about. He sponged it all up, man. I mean, into an encapsulation of greatness, legendary status, and now in the pantheon of boxing as one of the greatest to ever do it. But who's next? I hear a lot of fighters that are trying to get their name noticed. I hear it. The spark just isn't creating that fire. You know what I'm saying? It's just like messing around with Flint. You know, you're trying to strike up a fire, and you're just like, you keep on messing around, sparking and sparking. It just ain't catching fire. The Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. Why can't that spark up any fire than what it is? Why Hitchens, his situation? Wasn't he supposed to have a fight? Haven't heard nothing from Boots as always. You know what I'm saying? In between fights, really no one hears from Boots at all. Where's the heavyweight division at? I mean, we seen one heavyweight, former unified champion Anthony Joshua, in there fighting a former Vine creator star, Jake Paul. And believe me, if anything that made my holiday, and people can say I wanted to hate, and that was that fight right there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was looking for the day to see somebody line Jake Paul up and let the referee do his job. I mean, I see the Paul brothers all the time. Like I said, they making money. I'm not mad at them. But the entire ruse that was going on with these guys, the installment that they was giving the fans of attempting to sell Jake Paul as a legitimate boxer, that's the installment they was trying to get us to subscribe to. And finally, somebody said, I had enough of this guy. He can't hurt me. He don't have any cardio. I mean, I guess the only time he's running is when he has to do promo for his next fight. But what I will commend Jake Paul for is his acceptance and what he's doing for women's boxing, allowed them to be signed and make some pretty good money. I will commend him for that, genuinely. But him as a boxer, no. Him talking about a world championship, Anthony Joshua breaking his jaw, Yeah, you know, yeah, I think that was some good stuff. But what Anthony Joshua was gonna get from it, I don't know, y'all. But it was good to see AJ line him up like that, man. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. I remember Rolly getting knocked out in the sixth by Tank. Still Tank, I think holds a better um aftermath when you're talking about the finishing product when he knocked out Rolly Romero, Vice, Anthony Joshua lining up freaking Jake Paul in the sixth, right? But I'm glad that saga has concluded, and we would never see Jake Paul in the ring with a former anything unless they're a former Vines creator. He better go over there to Misfit Boxing and see if they got some slots and availability open. You know what I'm saying? Before I go any farther, man, shout out to my guy C Dub, man. Shout out to you, man. C Dub, shout out to him with the Cash App. I appreciate you, man. I haven't been on here that long. Whenever I pop up, man, you always donate to the Cash App. I appreciate you, man. You've been a real one. Real talk. Shout out to C Dub. You've been a real one, bro. Let me get to the hottest chat in the MF'N game 101. Carlos on deck. What it do, man? AB in the building. Mike in the building. What's good? BG in the building. Or should I say Bud smoked Canelo? One of the true to form titles on YouTube because he showed enough smoked him. I just don't care for boxing right now since Bud retired. Yeah, I'm trying to make it a boxing live. Hey, because man. Hey, I'll start talking about Bud, yo. I'll start talking about him, but I'm just talking about some miscellaneous topics, man. I wanna talk about Inouye's past performance against David Picasso. Now, Monster has been, one of those guys who's in the talks of being one of the pound for pound best. I always said that Monster was a bit overrated to me. I'm just saying the way he's been dropped. I just didn't see it, man. In the lower weight class, it just seems like most of his fights was in Japan. He has had several fights over here. Not really any notable names to speak on, so to speak. But I always thought he was a bit overrated. And I'm not being facetious about it. I'm just telling you straight up, my sincere, being sincere about it. I just thought, in a way, while everybody else was bigging him up and everything, I just thought I'm just looking for that signature fight. So they say it'll be Junto Nakatani, right? But it may be some other people that's clamoring for another name to be in the hunt. A lot of people might want to see him go in there against a tougher fighter. And there's nothing wrong with that. But in order for us to have Inouye make some of these big fights, he's gonna have to move up some divisions, yo. That's just point blank, period. He's gonna have to move up. The only fight I would like to see him, if he was to move up right now, coming off that David Picasso, and let me just provide a little bit of itemized criteria. You fighters that's out there, you already know this. When you're fighting 4 times a year, Ye Jun Kim, January 2025. Ramon Cardenas, May 2025. MJ, September 2025. Then from September to December, you fight David Picasso, the 4th fight. You're putting yourself in jeopardy of looking subpar, marginal, and your body is only one. You know, that entire neurological system, that physical composition that you have. You can be used to this all you want, but when you get and jump in your behind in fight camps that early throughout, and then you continue throughout the year, fight camp after fight camp after fight camp, and then you're traveling too. You know, you're in Japan, you're in Vegas, you're in Riyadh season. I mean, that's gonna take a toll on his body. But back to the task of who I would want in a way to fight. I would like to see him fight HaPpY or Rafael Espinosa. Absolutely. I would like to see him fight that tall, rangy striker. I don't want to see him fight Brandon Figueroa, Elijah Pierce. Even though I have nothing against Elijah Pierce, I just feel like Rafael Espinosa defeated my boy Robisa Ramirez Eltran. Shout out to him twice. And you know, dude, he's the real deal. Why do I want to see him fight Espinosa instead of Nick Ball? Because he has reach. He has the tools. He has the entire boxing makeup. When you talk about technical skills, when you talk about reach, height, he puts Inoue at a disadvantage. A lot of people speak on seeing fights that Inoue needs to be in to show, so he can prove that he is what they say he is. He's better than the average. His opponents haven't been just opponents. A lot of people are going to look at this fight and say, yeah, this might be a 50-50 fight right here. This might be a 50-50 fight. But we haven't really seen the opponents of Inoue get in the ring where we can comfortably make that assessment to say it's a 50-50 fight. Nick Ball has short arms. He's shorter than freaking Inoue, I believe. I just don't want to see that fight. I just don't want to see it, bro. And then Nick Ball about to go in there against Brandon Figueroa. And like I said before, Figueroa has been in there with some good competition, man. But the one thing about a tall fighter, which Nick Ball will always be at a disadvantage when it comes to taller fighters. One thing about Figueroa, he loves fighting on the inside. You know, he loves fighting on the inside. Kind of take me back to a younger Sebastian Fundora. You know, you want to fight on the inside when you have the reach, you have the height, you have those advantages, but you're unwilling to reach in the cachet and use that long range distance. You know what I'm saying? Measure your opponent, line them up, continue to work behind the stick. They don't do that. But yet he's going to probably give Nick Ball the birthday cake that he was looking for. He's going to give him up close and personal so he can blow out them candles right down the inside, close quarters boxing. That's what I believe Brandon Figueroa is going to do Nick Ball, or I might be wrong. Figueroa might use his reach, stay active with the jab, you know, switch it up, attack that body a little bit more, but don't just sit on the inside and fight Nick Ball. Y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm saying? Moving on. BoxingScene.com, okay, did an article on Naoya Inoue. It said, tired Inoue promised to improve after decision win over David Picasso. How can you promise to improve? Your body was broken down, bro. You know, and he might have been tougher than you thought. It said it was business as normal for Inoue as he routed game Mexican Alan Picasso on the scorecards in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The best junior featherweight in the world won all three scorecards by 119, 109, 120, 108, and 117, 111. That final scorecard was flattering to Picasso because it was hard to score around in his favor. Such was Inoue's control and dominance through all 12 rounds in their bill-topping fight. Inoue said afterwards, his performance was not good enough and he should have done better. He was asked if he would fight Junto Nakatani next year after Nakatani controversial win on the undercard. Both of us had a very good win tonight. So for the next year, we will decide what to do, Inoue replied. But for the Japanese fans, you should expect something very good. The first round was quiet and comparatively exploratory, given the fireworks, and had come in the previous fight between Nakatani and Sebastian Hernandez. A minute into the second, however, Inoue was doing Inoue things, landing a smart counter, right hand that seemed to instantly earn the Mexicans' respect. Picasso targeted Inoue's body. Inoue fired combinations that saw him work his opponent up and down. Picasso landed a left hook, but in doing so, invited Inoue to crack him with a couple of straight punches. Don't stand in front of him, warned Picasso's corner going into the third. Picasso was not overawed. Inoue was accurate, and both tried to establish their jab in the third. Inoue replied to a pair of left hooks and consecutive right hands that he was in charge. Picasso held his hands high to take shots on the gloves and tucking his elbows in to shield his body. But there were signs in the fourth that the brilliant Inoue was going to go through the gears. And this is just a little article that they did on Inoue's fight with Picasso. And I'm not going, through that, but I just wanted to try to give you a preamble on who I would like to see him fight. Junto Nakatani, of course. Okay, of course, that goes without saying. But do people want to see Inoue versus Nakatani more than they would want to see him move up to featherweight division 126? 126, and see him fight an even harder fight up there. You got Bruce Carrollton, that's the interim champion up there in the WBC sanctioning body. Out of the 4 champions of 126, I think it would be a pretty good money fight if Espinosa was his opposition, if they sign that contract, well as Nakatani. But I don't know, people talk about, just because these American fight fans talk about these foreign fighters doesn't mean they have sustainability. They can talk all they want. But if one of these fighters, Inoue or Nakatani, takes an L, are they going to be pushing for them to fight somebody again? Are they really going to be pushing for it? If Inoue takes a loss against Nakatani, are they going to be pushing for Inoue to fight Nakatani in a rematch? I don't know. If Nakatani loses to Inoue, are they going to be pushing for him to do a rematch? I don't know. But I know Espinosa has exciting fights, man. I know there's going to be a period in that fight that tells me that Inoue may potentially have to be in an uncomfortable position and fight himself through some challenges. He has to fight himself through some challenges, man. That's all I'm saying. Blue Hustle in the building. What it do, Blue? BG say, Inoue definitely overrated, especially without his special raps. I mean, got to his raps yet, because like I try to tell people, when you go to fights, man, you see some crazy stuff. I try to tell, these individuals so many times that when they up here trying to explain to their listeners, oh man, the commission be in there, and Deontay Wilder, there's no way the Tyson Fury gloves could have been wrapped the wrong way. He's just making excuses. And I'm telling you, I've been to fights where the teams are wrapping hands and there's nobody in there. They just coming there to sign. And these are high top tier promotions. You can tell them whatever you want to tell them, man. If they haven't really experienced it, they just going to go off what they think they know. But come on, this is not the first time, man, that they had a situation with Inoue's gloves. Like in certain I guess jurisdictions, you can wrap hands a certain way. Certain commissions allow you to wrap hands like this. Certain commissions allow you to wrap hands like that. But that's not the first time he's had issues with wrapping his hands. And hand wraps can mean a lot. They can mean a lot in many different ways, especially if you have a talented, skilled fighter. Those hand wraps can really do damage. I'm not talking about the Margarito specials either. You know, the plaster of Paris freaking winter blizzard with Oreos on top. You know, we're not talking about the Margarito specials. We're just talking about, hold on for a second. We're just talking about somewhat protocol, following protocol within that athletic commission. You know, for teams to believe that they can go somewhere else and wrap hands the same, if they can get away with it, then they're going to do it. I believe that's what happened with Inoue. They've been in the game too long not to know how to wrap somebody's hand in a different country or a different commission. All right, congratulations, man. Congrats. You didn't put, if you was an amateur, your name, what gym you fighting out of. You know, it's a lot of goofy accounts around here. You know, I want to see Inoue versus Shushu. Yeah, Shushu been calling for that fight, man. If you think he ready, bro. If you think he ready, yeah, for sure, Blue. You already know. Inoue went the distance with the fighter that I thought he should have KO'd his opponent quicker than going the distance. When can we see him fight real competition, in my opinion? Good question. And that's what I was proposing earlier. You know, he's been, giving us the installment that he's a pound for pound fighter. Foreign fighters sometimes get the acceptance letter. That acceptance letter that allows them to bypass certain criteria that may be mandated for other fighters. I'm just saying fighters that want to see themselves in the top 5 of pound for pound list. But with Inoue, it's just so many voices that have made this point to say, I want to see him with some tougher competition, quality competition, and tough competition, knowing that it's gonna, the percentages is gonna balance the scales different. That's all I'm saying. With people say I be hating on Inoue. I mean, I said Vasily Lomachenko was overrated back in the day. He don't have this spectacular freaking resume that he got these wins. Come on, he didn't even beat Teofimo Lopez, bro. But anyway, it's not about him. I just think with Inoue, it'd be good for him to step in there with a fighter who presents a significant challenge, skill for skill, punch for punch, power for power. I want to see that. And I believe Espinosa has that. I believe Nakatani has that. But what fight do the general public, where's it going to make the most money? Or do they even care to make the most money? I know David Picasso didn't really give him a huge paycheck. He got paid, but come on, let's be real about that. I'm not feeling that. But yeah, I agree with what Blue said. We want to see him in there with some quality opposition. We want to see him in there with somebody that's going to definitely push him, and he won't be comfortable. And if that person is able to knock him down, know how to go in there and finish. We need that type. We need that type. We need somebody, and not necessarily with dog in them, but with enough skill set to go in there and themselves be able to fight through Inoue's fury, and for them to return the fury. That's all. So I see Keyshawn Davis. I know my colleague Blue was talking to me the other day about Shakur Stevenson, how Keyshawn was inserted into the card, which is good. It's always good when you can get on a good card with a name like Shakur Stevenson. Anybody else that fights at that tier, that higher elite tier of fighting, it's always good, especially when you've been out the ring and reflecting on how your last fight didn't happen, overweight, fighting in the dang locker room and stuff like that. It's good that Shakur has enough pull to be able to get Keyshawn on the card without somebody saying we don't want that. Oh, that's bad for boxing. Because I always say this about when I hear bad for boxing. So many fighters come from different turnstiles of life. Boxing is always going to be bad because the people that run it are somewhat similar to the fighters who come into the sport to compete and make an earning. They're just as bad. But when it comes to the sport itself, we have seen over time where fighters get blackballed. And what Keyshawn did it dives a little bit more in the moral section. Our morals. What should you have done? What should you have done? That's bad judgment. Why would you do that? That's very poor judgment. But for Shakur to be able to have him inserted on the card, to make a check, to get back in the groove, to come out here and fight somebody that the fans won't, be turning a blind eye to. It's like, oh man, he coming with a super soft touch. I like that, man. Respect to Shakur. I like that, somebody he consider his one of his best friends. They'll never fight against my better wishes. He was able to get that man on the card. Hopefully everything work out with that. Really, hopefully that works out, because that's showing growth right there for whoever did it. Because Keyshawn is coming off another team. He has a different team. So when you're looking at that, it's a lot of changes that's going on in his life right now. Then also he low key still have that cloud canopy over his head from the night he did what he did with Albright, and then his brother wasn't so much the one that should hold the liability. The one that lost the fight. You would think Keyshawn lost the fight when his was just turned to a no contest for popping dirty. It's just crazy, yo. But shout out to Shakur Stevenson, man. That's all I'm gonna go. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Shout out to him, bro. Y'all give me a minute. I'm up here looking. I see they trying to make Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. It takes me back, right? Sort of like riding a tricycle downhill backwards. I remember when Eddie Hearns, in between time with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury trilogy, where Deontay Wilder had to attend court, arbitration, and Eddie Hearns was out here talking about Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua was going to fight in August. While, insiders were saying that fight wasn't going to happen because Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury had a trilogy on deck. So now, coming full circle, a lot of people wanted to see Deontay Wilder fight Anthony Joshua. But Eddie Hearns, I have to salute his persistence. He wants to see or try to make the fans believe that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is a now fight. Is it a now fight for you? For those who's listening, does this seem like a now fight? Do you think this is a now fight that you can get up and motivate it for? I don't know if this is the now fight for me. I ain't trying to see Tyson Fury. Shout out to Bruce Gas Boxer Jazz, the OG of the building. What's good with it, Bruce? I don't think this is a now fight. I mean, looking at the landscape, man, I really don't know. I had high hopes and big dreams for Daniel Dubois to kind of make a statement. Then finding out they threw a big party before the fight and all this other stuff, I'm done with him. I just wanted to see a new face. And then, Wilder has been on record as saying that he planned on fighting for the next 10 years. I will always be a Deontay Wilder fan. Always. I was a bigger Deontay Wilder fan than a Bud Crawford fan. Let's get that straight. I supported them damn near equally. But I am a huge Deontay Wilder fan. Even when he doesn't have the belt, it was bound to happen one time or another that Deontay Wilder take a loss. But to be as tall as he is with a vertical build, with a physique that carries very minimal body fat, he was still able to go in here and punch the taste out of fighter's mouth, put him to sleep. Those was good memories. Will I ever see, or will we ever see as boxing fans, him fighting Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury? I mean, not Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua or Alexander Usyk, one of those names. Even Daniel Dubois. I don't know. Derek Chisora. I really don't get anything out from Derek Chisora. He's a tough dude. But do I want to see Wilder fight him right now? I mean, it wouldn't matter, to be honest. It wouldn't really matter, man. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It wouldn't really matter. It wouldn't really matter because at this point, Chisora has taken multiple losses. Deontay has taken multiple losses recently in the last several months. But I would still pick Deontay Wilder to beat Derek Chisora. Okay? That's just my OP. Okay? Shout out to the Bronze Bomber. Tuscaloosa in the building. Shout out to him. Okay. So Blue says not a now fight. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a now fight that I want to see, man. It's not a now fight for me. And if y'all hear that phrase, you'll know where you got it from, a now fight. I'm just saying, if y'all hear that phrase that I just put out there, I put it on the conveyor belt, man, for it to be distributed. You know what I'm saying? I put it in production. I'm moving on, though. I'm just going to miscellaneous topics, y'all. Oh, okay. So I seen on social media where it is what it is. Cameron Mace was talking to Floyd Mayweather. And one thing I would say about them two is they will most of the time ask some very, stern but controversial questions. Their delivery, it doesn't come off as antagonistic or disrespectful. But they did propose to Floyd Mayweather a question about Roy Jones Jr. Shout out to the legend himself. You know what I'm saying? The best in the game. they asked Floyd Mayweather, what do you think about Roy Jones saying that he's TBE? If boxing fans really pay attention, they'll know that I'm TBE. And to my surprise, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Floyd has gotten older, yo. Because of Floyd 10, 15 years ago, the response would have been a lot different. But he said, Roy has did a lot of great things in his boxing career. He's not going to sit up here and dog him out, say anything like that. But he really didn't go onto the curve. He didn't take it off road, so to speak, and kick up a lot of dust when they ask about Roy Jones saying he's the TBE of boxing. I thought that was a very good question presented to Floyd Mayweather, because if you say TBE, then automatically the gears shift and people say, that's Floyd right there. That's Floyd right there. That's Floyd right there. That's Floyd. Even with Crawford being who he is, a lot of boxing fans is not going to stamp the TBE to Terrence Bud Crawford. They're going to stamp it to Money May. They're gonna stamp it to Pretty Boy. They're gonna stamp it to Floyd Mayweather Jr. Period. I don't think I had a chance to speak about Alicia Baumgartner's last fight. I mean, she looked in amazing shape, as always. They say sex sell. There's nothing wrong with someone dressing up in outfits, showing off their physique, and from a female standpoint, that sleek, fine, petite body. Alicia Baumgartner, 17 victories, 1 defeat, 7 knockouts. She went in there and fought Lydia Bedun, I believe, in Miami, and went the distance with her. She dropped her in round 7, but went the distance in a 3-minute, 12-round event. That's the respect that was built for me. I remember when Katie Taylor, when asked by Amanda Serrano, do you want to fight 3-minute rounds? And she absolutely no hesitation said no. Katie Taylor turned it down at the presser, period. No. But here you go. You have Baumgartner coming off a okay fight, her last fight. Not this previous fight, her last fight before then. Then she want to step it up and do 3-minute rounds, 12 3-minute rounds. I say, all right, that's the way you're going to get women's boxing. Going to bring that attention to women's boxing. I'm not saying she's the only fighter to do it, okay? But it's good for her to be able to step up. So those who have already done it, consolidating Baumgartner and everybody else that select to do it, I mean, that's going to bring some very good, positive energy towards women's boxing. Seriously. So shout out to Alicia Baumgartner picking up her 17th victory. Salute to you, big dog. And for those of you that's been standing by, yeah, man, only thing I can tell you, I'm definitely going to try to get better with consistency, man, going live. I just had, some other things to take care of with family. That's all, man. That's the only way I can tell you, but to the real ones that are always popping up when you see the notification, man, salute to y'all, man. I don't have to say it. Y'all hottest chat in the MF'N game, man. And I appreciate y'all for pulling up and clicking the link when you see me go live. What else is out there? I want to talk about Keyshawn Davis, but really is nothing that I feel that I need to discuss about him. He's looking in tremendous shape. And I've been on record as saying that he has a pretty good mouthpiece when it comes to the media. With that said, his mouthpiece wasn't the problem. You know, the deleterious part of it is when he was trying to put hands on a fighter that he didn't fight. Not only that, he missed weight. So I was like, I'm looking forward to him. That's not something like robbing a bank. This is boxing at the end of the day. Man, come on, let's go back to the old school days where the physicality happened at the pressers. I always bring up Riddick Bowe and Larry Donald, Mike Tyson. You know, it's been so many, Zab Judah, it's been so many fighters, man, that put hands on one another. Hakeem Rothman, Lennox Lewis. I mean, this is nothing. This day and time, you know, Haney pushed Lomachenko. They tried to find him. They did find him or whatever. What are we talking about? So for Keyshawn, you know, to be able to come back, I'm looking forward to it. It ain't like I hold no freaking grudge over Keyshawn. I thought, you know, he would be able to excel a little bit smoother than he did without going off road and having an incident, having a dust up that was all on camera. It didn't make any sense to me why he would just swerve off like that, man. There wasn't no deers on the road. Lock back in, Keyshawn, man. Lock back in. Frank Martin. I see he had a fight recently. You know, shout out to Frank Martin. I think he's one of those guys that had a I don't know if he had he definitely had a trainer change or whatever, but he improved his record of 19-1, 13 knockouts. He went in there and knocked out Bartholomew, December 6th this year. So he went in there and came back off that loss to Gervonta Davis, and he had a little time off. It's been over a year, about a year and a half too, damn near, you know, for him stepping back in the ring. So he looked good. Errol Spence's, you know, sightings have been confirmed. Errol Spence has been out there looking, you know, laid back, casual, you know, got the locks down, chilling. But the big question everybody wants to know is when he would return and split the ropes. You know, that's what we want to know. When you going to split the ropes? Are you going to split the ropes? He said he's chilling with his kids and all that. But I heard that he is coming back. But I'm not about to do this. I'm not about to say, you know, yeah, Errol Spence is coming back. I'm not doing that right now. But I did get word, the 2 styrofoam cups and a string of yarn, that he was coming back sometime in the near future, 2026. And also heard the potential opponent that he may be facing, which I'm definitely not going to put that on a hot mic. No, sir. No, sir. I'm going to chill. You know, I'm not going to put that on a hot mic. Bruce said, what do you think about Benavidez versus Beterbiev? I read this in talks. Of course, I love that fight. That's 2 tough, come forward fighters. Benavidez is at a point right now where every step he takes, he's steadily trying to prove to the boxing community that he's climbing the steps to be considered one of the best. That's what I see from Benavidez, man. He's so hungry and eager to prove that, hey, give me my respect, man. Put some respect on it. Put some respect on Beterbiev. He has respect on his name already. He's a tough fighter, regardless if he lost. Beterbiev is a monster. You know, and just because he didn't win, you know, that rematch, it doesn't say anything. Him and Benavidez, to me, is a very nice matchup. As we all say, OG and everybody else in the chat, are we going to see the age play a significant role in the declivity of Beterbiev? If we see some type of declivity with Beterbiev, then people are going to say, well, yeah, Benavidez, you did beat Beterbiev, but the man is 46 years old. You know, the same thing they was doing with Deontay Wilder. They're gonna be like, hey, he old, but he was on the end of a loss. But Beterbiev, on the other hand, his loss, still people deem him as one of the more dangerous fighters still active right now. So for him to go in there against Benavidez, similar styles, aggression, their report card adds up very, very good. Positive report cards from both fighters. I would like to definitely see that fight. I would definitely like to see if Beterbiev can test Benavidez's chin. And I'm not just saying that because I want to see Benavidez get dropped again. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like these at one point in time, Beterbiev was considered one of the machines in boxing, like extremely tough, unbreakable. Benavidez was considered a machine with coming forward and applying pressure, but we did see some type of fragmentation when it came to David Morrell. David Morrell caught him coming in when he was in the corner coming in, buckled his knees. I'm curious to know if he get hit with one of those shots from Beterbiev. I don't know. We're talking about a finisher. Both of these guys are finishers, yo. Who has more power? I still got to lean more towards Beterbiev, man. But is his age going to play a role in some type of decline? I don't want to really put any smut on the fight. But yeah, we need a fight like that right now. I thought, Bruce, I thought I heard him say now. I thought he said he was moving up and fight my boy Gilberto Ramirez, a.k.a. Zerto. I could have sworn I heard Benavidez say he was going up the cruiserweight to fight the unified champion, Gilberto Ramirez. You can put in the chat if you think that fight isn't going to happen first. Because you said they're in talks. But Benavidez has said that he wants to move up to cruiserweight to fight Gilberto Ramirez, a.k.a. Zerto. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The co-main was an upset in my opinion. They wanted to make a fight with the Nui. Hey, you know how they shuffle the cards in boxing? You know how they shuffle the cards in boxing, man. Come on. The house don't always win. Just like with Crawford and Canelo. The house doesn't always win, dog. They could want what they want. Real talk. But that's the crazy part about it. Let me see if just another topic. With me, yeah, I'm gonna leave the Schofield alone, man. The asking price that was put out there, because to me, Tevin Farmer is just not gonna do it. I understand the tears were shed, and you felt a huge spirit come over you when you knocked out Tevin Farmer. But Tevin was, with a quick turnaround, and he was Tevin. Shout out to Tevin, you're a warrior, bro. For him to come on and say we'll fight this person for this amount of money, I can't sit up here and complain about somebody asking price, because I've been an advocate of boxers asking something that whatever, asking a purse size that's big enough for them to get paid. I have no problem with that. On the flip side, you have to look at, are you asking a number that is going to dissuade somebody? You're gonna cause them to be disinterested because they feel like you just not serious about taking the fight. I don't know what to say about the Schofields. Like, he's supposed to have a fight coming up and then he gets injured. I'm kind of like shaking my head with that whole situation because I've been waiting on him. He has some of the best workout videos is out there. I always say, hey man, do you, man? I like putting them videos out there and showing other fighters and giving them, different variety to work out with their strength and conditioning coach and all that. But that's two big fights supposedly that you got out of that people want to see you in there with somebody tough. 140 is cool down, 147 is cool down. Shout out to Brian Norman. He didn't get the win over Devin. But he should be back. He's still young in the game. But Devin Haney, definitely had to give him the check mark that he definitely fit 147 when he was in there with Brian Norman. He looked like a 54-pounder to me. And he did what he had to do. Real talk. He did what he had to do. He got it done. And he looks sharp doing it. So, whoever he fights next, looking forward to. Rolly Romero, I don't know. Tank, what I heard, Tank is definitely coming back. But I did hear his potential opponent, but I'm not putting it out there. I just don't want to put it out there. Because of me, if that's the opponent that Tank is fighting next, I'm disappointed. If that's the opponent that Tank is fighting next, I'm disappointed. Real talk. I'm disappointed, bro. Just like playing basketball with a splint in my hand, on two fingertips a day. It's just irritating a little bit. If that is the opponent that he's fighting on his return, nah. And it's not Lamont Roach either. But it is what it is, man. Let me get back down here. Benavidez is ducking Beterbiev, in my opinion. Beterbiev called out David before his last fight and immediately after his last fight. I don't know why he would be ducking him, but once again, I look at it like this, Blue. When he was trying to fight Canelo and all that, people saying this, that, and the other, man, but they'll never mention, how Canelo was the first franchise attendee. He was on deck. The petition was signed, sealed, delivered. Why? When he had someone like Maul Charlo there. It would have been good to see that happen. People always going to use that duck goose. I'm looking at it right now like there's fighters that's fight more smarter fights. And they just like, I got to get paid and I want to continue to be champion. If that fight's a little bit difficult for me, I'm just going to do what's beneficial to me. If I can go in here with a semi easy fight and still get the paycheck for it, then I'm going to do it. That's just the mentality that I see from them. Like, it is fighters that's out there that's fighting, but it's not the group isn't, the numbers aren't large enough for us to say everybody's on board. We're just going out here and taking the hard fights. Nah, they wait to a opportune moment in their career to fight the hard fights. Some do, some don't. I still want to know what the Charlos are going to do coming back. Where's Keith Thurman at? Ennis, Hitchens, Antoine Russell, the 140-pound division, Tank. I know Abdullah Mason He just won the title, but looking forward to see what he plan on doing. Murataya, you know, you got Andy Cruz and Raymond Murataya. I'm looking forward to seeing that fight, even though it just doesn't give me fireworks. It doesn't give me fireworks, though, thinking about it. And then, as we all know, the 168-pound division, there's several fighters that's up on deck, you know? What I mean by that, fighters who now have the opportunity to go and fight for a title at the super middleweight division, now that some of the titles have been freed up by the one and only Terrence Bud Crawford. We have the IBF that is vacant. We have the WBC that is vacant and the WBO that is vacant. So we all know that the sanitation was done with Terrence Bud Crawford. He cleaned out the division thoroughly, sanitized the hell out of it, left it sparkling clean, and the white glove came out, and the referee said, and knew it was over. You know what I'm saying? It was over. Now, what ensued in the aftermath, that's boxing. This sanctioning fees, that's boxing. It's not like Errol Spence didn't mention that 3% when him and Crawford was fighting. It's not like they the first fighters that actually had a problem with the sanctioning fees. But when it comes to holding belts like that, the sanction fees can get pretty pricey, costly, right? But the wild part about it is you're telling me for the WBC alone, it's like 400,000 or something like that, man. Get out of here, man. I can look, Crawford has like 80 some properties. He can go purchase some properties with that. He can go do something else with that. You can have the belt. I'm already solidified, recorded in the boxing annals. There's nothing you can do to expunge those results. It's done. Period. So I'm not sweating it. I'm not sweating it. Real talk. I'm not sweating it. Yeah, Tank is in the garage right now, man. I'm not saying there might not be some sports cars in there. But a sport car that's not running, you're just sitting up there staring at and admiring it. You know, that's how his career look right now. I'm just curious to know, you know, if that person they said is the real, is he going to be the opponent that they talking about? I hope not. I don't want to see this. And remember, I told you that. Remember, I told you, okay? I put it out there. I don't want to see this opponent. And if that opponent comes up, I'm going to say, yep. Now you see what I was talking about. I really hope that's not the opponent. But shout out to the hottest chat in the MF'N game, yo. Continue to support. I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate y'all as always. And for anybody who selects to support, there go the Cash App that's at the bottom. Until next time, man, y'all hold it down. Happy holidays. Be safe. And I will definitely be on before the New Year's. Peace. I'm out.